What's in the news this week and for a few weeks now, it has been and it's going to be, is the incoming Trump administration. Who's getting nominations? Who's getting spots? What's the Senate got going on? Who's going to nominate whom? Who's fighting for which jobs? All of these sorts of questions. And I want to look at the broader conversation that's happening around these. And it is an interesting transition. In the past, even very recent past, hiring has been based on the privilege of connection. Now, I don't mean privilege in a bad way. I mean more like an advantage. You could call it an unfair advantage. You could call it a fair advantage of who knows who here. What we see now is the people who are going to be getting top spots are those who are the most effective communicators, the ones with the deepest knowledge base, and those who have a track record of fighting for the cause. Not simply the candidate, but the cause that is being discussed. Like Tom Homan, for example, who's going to be the new border czar under Trump. Prior to the election day, and now afterwards that he has been selected as Trump's border czar, clips of him going viral. They've been going viral. One of the favorite sort of gangsta moments is when a journalist is questioning Tom, talking about how the policy of separating families is awful. And he said, "Oh, there's no problem. We just deport families together." This is someone who appeared before Congress and, when speaking before a congressional committee, corrected the chair, a rather feisty, testy, angry woman who lost composure and began shouting and smacking her gavel over and over and over, screeching at Tom. Tom reminded her, "You work for me. I'm the American taxpayer. You work for me." That's the attitude that we want. Bold, some would say abrasive, but bold speech, truthful speech. That clip, while an anecdote for those of us who are witnessing it and those of us who are sharing and reporting on it, it is a watershed. You could call it a bellwether. Pick your metaphor. But the time we're at in history now is one where you don't need to cozy up for support. You don't need to necessarily say, how do I get on this person's good side so I can get what I want from them and get privilege and power and whatever else. It's the person with the best ideas in charge. Scott Adams. I'll say it again. The person with the best ideas, that's who's in charge. That person could be you. Scott Adams himself affected policy in the Trump administration the first time around with live streams that he did, videos he posted. I happen to know of people in my audience that just random everyday citizens who had an idea, particularly during the Trump campaign for 2024 presidency. They had an idea. I thought, oh, this is great. I like it. They have 50 followers. But I pay attention to my notifications and my mentions on social media. I then share it. And because so many movers and shakers, both in the incoming administration and on the right and culturally, I'm followed by some, you might call them some of the most powerful people in the history of the world. Read me on social media, to X specifically. And so I have the ability to affect. You understand. And I'm aware of that. And so I use that to the advantage of the cause, not to the person. Like, oh, okay, I want to close it to such and such person. Yes, I want certain individuals as clients. I do. There's no mistaking that. But is that why I exist? Is that why I fight? Is that why I post? Is that why I publish, even if a video gets 20 views or a post gets 5 likes? No, that's not why I do it. It's about a collective body of work. It's about the cause. This persuasion video is less tactical and more so meta. Why do you want to persuade? And that's not a question I've actually asked on this channel. I haven't presented that as a question. I can't think of a time that I have. And I can't think of a time that others who talk about persuasion have as well presented this. Seriously though, why do you want to persuade? Try the 7 levels. I'll do it with you right here and now while you keep track of yourself at home. 7 levels, seven levels of why. Before I do that, I'm going to close the loop. This particular individual with about 50 followers, I retweeted this person. That was reposted by, I think it was posted by Jack Posobiec, Scott Adams, or someone else. And then that further was seen by someone during the Trump campaign. And then the Trump campaign turned somebody's post on social media into an advertisement, and the advertisement went viral. From one person, I was helpful in sourcing on social media. The campaign to dredge up hate for J.D. Vance when he was picked as vice president candidate back in July, there was a backlash calling him weird. Do you remember that? Everyone started all calling him weird all at once. It was weird. And the idea was to try to stain the candidacy much the same way that Tim Walz's antics helped to sink Kamala's chances by being this sort of lying, deceiving minstrel character that Tim Walz is and his career has done as on the federal or national stage, certainly. The same was attempted to J.D. Vance. There was a counter to the counter of J.D. Vance. And transmuting the energy of him being weird to him being dad weird. It was a viral social media campaign that I did have a small part in. Taking the weirdness of JD and making it, he's weird in the same way that a 13-year-old girl calls her competent, capable, masculine, respected father weird. And that ended the weird attacks within hours by the mainstream media. It was remarkable to witness this in real time. And it happened because private citizens with 50 followers said, I think I'm going to speak up. I'm going to say something. I have an idea. I have a meme. I have a message. I have a vision. But we're united by a cause. My client, Ryan Christensen, calls it the new American dream that we're all here to create. I think of it as, my personal philosophy is middle-class nationalism. That is, what makes this nation, beginning with my state, Ohio, the best place in the world to become and remain middle class. And by middle class, I mean you can take your family on a nice vacation. Your family with 2 or more kids, by the way. You can take your family of a spouse and 2 or more kids, a nice vacation, a nice restaurant, and you don't have to worry about menu prices while you're there on vacation. That is middle class nationalism. That's my cause. Now, notice I didn't say my cause is MAGA, Make America Great Again. I didn't say my cause is the Trump campaign. I have. This is the why. Like, this is the closest, nearest, dearest why, and it's an experience. I didn't say, economic policy and immigration and candidacy and Republicans and whatever. Right? The most persuasive idea is what's most persuasive to you. Think about this. That's the most persuasive thing I was able to come up with versus being persuaded externally. Yes, I want to participate in helping Trump win, and I do believe that I helped. I did the best that I could, particularly with the book Unhumans. That was the #1 best-selling book in the country during summer 2024, and it framed this election as Trump versus communism. And here's how bad communism is, and here's what is intended. Here's communism in America, an irregular communist revolution we have been enduring for real since the 1950s. And only one side's been fighting for it, the revolutionaries on the far left. They have been calling all the shots. Time for America to fight back and win. Reciprocity. That book made waves. That book was read by and endorsed by J.D. Vance himself. Endorsed. Young Humans. Vice President of the United States now, soon. Bulletproof. Endorsed by Donald J. Trump, future president. I'm the first ghostwriter turned co-author in American history to have 2 books endorsed back-to-back by the president and vice president. Ever. That's influence. Bulletproof, of course, being the truth about the assassination attempts on the man's life. I don't think he likes to cover. But the reason we chose this is because we wanted millions of men in America to see this image, to see their leader in a moment of suffering, and say, I will do whatever it takes to vote for that man. I spoke, I advocated, I took time away from work in order to help because I was persuaded internally. Why do I want to learn persuasion? Is to persuade people? 7 levels, exercise time. Why do I want to persuade people? So now I want to persuade people. Okay, 7 levels. Let's do it. Why do I want to persuade people? Because I believe if their behavior, if I don't persuade them, is going to be destructive. And if I persuade them, then it's going to be beneficial, not destructive. Why do I want their behavior to be beneficial, not destructive? Because that destructive behavior hurts me and those that I love. Okay. And we're only at 3. This is deep. You see, isn't this powerful? Why is it important to protect me and those whom I love from destructive behavior that I could have prevented? Because it's the right thing to do. Then that'd be hard, people. Okay. Now we're at why. Why is it the right thing to do? Because I believe that there are sins of commission, but there are also sins of omission. And that if you see what the right thing to do is and you don't do it, you see what the wrong thing that was going to be done, and you don't stop it or try what you can to stop it, you share in the guilt. Why do I believe that? I believe that because it has the best predictive ability for human flourishing, believing that over time, space, place, and race. That if you believe that good and evil are real, and you understand that the line between good and evil runs through every human heart, including yours, every day, every hour, every minute is imbued with an internal and eternal significance. Why? Now, we are so deep at this point, you might be wondering, what are we asking why about? Backing up to the previous whys, it might be something like, why is it important to be able to predict what's going to create human flourishing? Which is believing in good and evil and your part in it. Because then I know how to act. I know what to do. I know how to live my life. I know how to organize. I know what to. It's as if every difficult question is now answered in advance. And why is that important? Why is it important or significant to answer every hard, tough decision in life in advance? Because then being able to know what to do in advance, to decide everything in advance, I can live with courage and with confidence. And you notice how it brings it back full circle to persuasion? I can persuade. There's nothing more persuasive than confidence. in what it is you're persuading about. And that can't be faked. You can trick and you can manipulate occasionally here and there, but you can't do that at scale for a long term. I just brought us full circle back to that's why I want to persuade. Isn't that amazing? The exercise 7 levels. Daily Persuasion. Maybe I should call this show Daily Philosophy. You got what you came for. I can promise you that.